Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. Hot or cold, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles, compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles, go take care of your business. Success Chronicles, it's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles, and I'm so excited to have my guy, Mr. Koriey Dixon, on with us. Great guy, doing some great things in the car culture to build some positive things in the community. I'm so excited to have him on to highlight him and highlight his journey. So, Koriey, man, thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles.
And thank you so much for having me, man. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, man, let's dive into it. If you don't mind, just, share with the audience a little bit about, your background and so they have an idea of who you are and what it is you do.
Okay. I'm a proud Texan with Louisiana roots, I guess. Raised with a strong work ethic, a deep love for my family, and create like a creative spirit, I want to say, because you can't do some of the stuff that we've been doing as a hobby without that creative spirit. I started from humble beginnings, no silver spoon in my mouth. Raised in a trailer in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, man. Well, really out in Zachary, Louisiana. Well, I guess a little bit further out than that, in Clinton, Louisiana. We kind of moved around a lot, but always in a trailer, from the hood, you would say. But most people wouldn't get that because, just through my grit, my passion, and a vision to never want to go back to that.
Come on.
I keep moving forward, over the years, I've carved out a path in engineering, community building, so to speak, which is what we're doing with Carmic.con, so to speak. And, content creation. I'm not a big content creation. I kind of dibble and dabble, if that's how you say it. But the whole thing is, when I jump in, I jump out, because there's so much going on and I'm just one person. It's just, you can't keep it all. You need a full team to be with you, do the kind of stuff that you're doing. And my hat's off to you, brother. It's like, it's a hard thing to do, just to keep putting these videos out, being consistent, meeting up with people. Like, it's hard. And I've been there and done that. And every now and then I get back into it, but then, I jump away from it. I'm now the founder of Carmic Con, and that's the American Atasa Association. When I first started it, wasn't thinking about it being an association, but trying to move in this community, this car community, is very hard. You don't want, if you're trying to make progress, you can't be a car club, because if you're a car club, then you're a clique. And the cliques don't move well together. When my goal is, if I'm a part of your car club, I want to be able to support his car club. So the only thing that I could do was, start Carmic-Con as a bridge, so to speak, to bring these communities together, support car clubs and all their members. So I don't have a side, I'm neutral in all things car community. And I'm just there to support. If you ask me for help, if I can do it, I'll do it, or I'll find somebody who can do it, with the lane that we're in, which is anime and pop culture, there's a huge and powerful message behind some of the animes and cartoons and all the other stuff out there. And the cars in themselves bring people together, but when you find those people who love both of them and you can bring them together to create something beautiful like what we have here in Houston, and the sky's the limit. So it's authentic, it's pure. And, my story isn't perfect, but every setback taught me how to pivot and evolve to something new, and just to keep building with purpose.
I love that.
That's all I got.
You just it's cool to hear you verbalize that and say that, because I'll just say, I had the privilege to come out and doing a Comicpalooza Houston through Carmic Con, to do interviews, at your show there at the event. And first, I want to say thanks again. I told you this in person, but I'm gonna say it while we're on air. But thanks again for the opportunity to do that. It was a great opportunity. But more than that, just like you said, just being able to see the community and people from all races, nationalities, ages, different likes, styles, card, like you say, like, it's not a clique, right? It's just like people from all different, backgrounds, worlds just coming together. And it's a beautiful thing to see, man. I liken it, being an educator and a former coach and a former athlete, I liken it to sports. Like when you come together for a common cause and you said, having a purpose, right? None of that other stuff matters, right?
Mm-hmm.
The stuff that everybody get hung up, none of that matters, man. Just be a good person, come in, let's love people, let's have a good time with our passions. And man, it's a blessing. I'm gonna just tell you, like it was a blessing to be in the atmosphere and to see, the things that you've created there and all of that stuff that you just talked about. You doing it, brother, and so big kudos to you, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that was your first comic convention?
that was my first one, man. I had heard about it. I'd heard some really cool things, and it's funny because like in the past, I had seen some of the things that you had done and some of the other guys. Like once I was like, oh yeah, I've seen. Like I was reminded, yeah, I've seen those guys. And so, like I said, it was just really neat to just be in the room with you guys, brother. And I really appreciate that, and I appreciate what you do, man.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully we can, like you said, hopefully we can expand that area, because the whole thing with, in the spirit of giving back and lifting up, it's one of those things where, we can all grow together.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't have to be apart. I was talking with one of the rap judges, best rap judges. He was telling me there's so much money in Houston. He just doesn't understand why rap companies are so cliquish and they fight each other. He said, if I get $1 million job and I need to get it out in a month, there's no way I can do that by myself. I have to reach out to other rap companies for help. So why would I sabotage those relationships by being cliquish? Or if I bring you work, why would I try to, if you bring me work, why would I try to steal your client behind your back because I helped you out when you could be in the same boat that I'm in, in the future? Just never know. But it's like Comicpalooza has given us the opportunity. And, Comicpalooza is run by the city of Houston. Most people don't know that. It's a city, it's run by Houston First, and Houston First is like the tourism, as I understand, I could be wrong about this, but they're like the tourism mouthpiece for the city of Houston. So they bring in all these people. They bring in people from around the world for Comicpalooza, but then they also run all these other things that they do. So for them to give us this kind of platform, it's just amazing.
Yeah. No doubt. And again, I'm gonna say it again, man. Just like all of that stuff can be talked about, but when you can like be there and experience it, man, the feel is like nothing other. Just the love, the vibe, just getting to meet people. And I'll tell you another thing that was really cool to me is like I did several, I think I did like 9 interviews that day, right? And every person that I talked to or interviewed were amazing people. Right. Like like a couple of the guys, like, retired, from the Air Force or the military, like 20 years in the military. One guy, served in one of the world wars and, some of the things that he had. And then the themes for the cars, like behind the, like one young lady I interviewed, like Mace, like lupus, so like, man, it's so cool. Like the causes and, what it's all about, and it's just really neat to experience.
Yeah, the way we express ourselves through our vehicles, and through our fandom. Some people combine DC with cancer treatments. Like we have a Wonder Woman car that wasn't there this year, and her whole family has survived some parts of cancer. So she put their names, some of them have fallen. She put their names in ribbons, and there's Wonder Woman mixed into that with some scenes from the movie. Like it's just crazy how creative some of the drivers are and the stories behind those cars, man. Some of them will bring you to tears.
Yeah, without a doubt, brother. Well, what are 3 things you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
For me, I think, I've always been proud of Carmic Con, but this year really hit home. It was a pivoting point to where I had to ask for help, because now I'm at the point where I just can't handle everything by myself. So all the things that I've been handling, it's time for me to shed those responsibilities to people who want to do them and who can help me do them. So one of the biggest things that I'm proud of is just founding Carmic Con and to see where it's gone from where it started. As crazy as the idea about blending anime and car culture in a legit show setting, it's kind of blended together beautifully. And now it's growing into a nationwide movement. We have people from North Carolina, South Carolina, California, Arizona, New Jersey, Destin, Florida, like everywhere. And that, like, for me to see that, like, this is something that's, it's been going on around the country, but, with us calling it American Natasha, that's a Houston thing. With us calling it, with us doing a big nationwide show that can appeal to a nationwide audience, that's a Houston thing. Nobody else has ever done that. A lot of small people have tried to do it since we started doing it, but they still haven't had the success that we have. And I like to think that that's because of Carmic Con, And now it's, like I said, giving people with themed cars a space to shine, a safe space where they're not going to be bullied. That's huge for the culture. Number two, raising my 5 kids, man. I'm a dad. I have 5 kids, and my last one graduated high school this year, and my oldest graduated college. So to get them from a baby to self-sustaining, that's a huge thing that I'm proud of. Just my family and my wife, and then also turning adversity into opportunity, whether it was with my job. If you don't know, I'm an engineer. I've had some amazing projects around the country now with the company that I'm with right now. A year or two, we finished LaGuardia Airport, and that was the biggest project of my career. So getting over those first personal challenges and those financial setbacks, I've learned how to turn pressure into progress. And every L was a lesson that fueled, pretty much a comeback, especially with Carmic Con. There was so much hate in the very beginning. People just trying to stop the progress because they didn't want to see the change. It's one of those things that I've accomplished and I'm proud of, And I'm proud of the community too. I'm gonna add one more to that. I'm proud of our community. Come on. It's come a long way, from the theme cars not being accepted anywhere to we got anime conventions now asking for a Superman car or a Batman car. It went from, we can only have a JDM in our show, and that JDM can only have anime, to now we want you here, and they're being accepted. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a huge accomplishment, and it took almost 6 years to make that happen.
So cool, man. So cool. Well, just hearing you talk about your journey, hearing you discuss the things that you're proud of, I would consider that to be hugely successful. So let's hit on success. What is your definition of success?
If you set a goal and you accomplish it, that's success. Just waking up today was a success, moving forward. To me, that's my definition of success. Never giving up. There's always going to be setbacks. There's always going to be people talking about you. Being above the noise and above all the hate, to where even if somebody hates you today, you still love them tomorrow. Love them enough, you keep them at a distance, but you're not, you understand that people can change. They might be one way today, another way tomorrow, very fickle. You don't hold that against them, what they're doing today, because sometimes it's just ignorance. Sometimes they just don't know. It's a big misunderstanding. So being able to do that and keep moving forward, and then bring those people with me as I continue to move forward when they're ready, that's my definition of success for me. Just never giving up.
Love it, brother. Well, I mean, I want to do a little something off script here. I want to throw some words or phrases out at you. And if you don't mind, just talk about what comes to mind or to heart when you hear these words or phrases. You good for that?
Yeah, we can try. Always be edited out, right?
Yeah, we can edit if we need to. But I don't think we'll have to. I think you're gonna knock it out the park like you always do, brother. The first phrase that I want to throw at you is the car culture.
Hmm. The car culture for me is it's a little different. You know, you have your traditional car culture. You have the guys who go out to parking lots and they chill and they meet and they just commune together, right? Then you have the car show community, which is, you know, almost to where we are. That's what we're trying to get to. And then you have, you know, the Atasha community, which is very niche, which is, you know, pretty much what we are, where you have theme cars and they're just they don't go out. You don't see them every day. They might be garage kept. They may be daily driven, but mostly garage kept. And you don't see them out at car shows. The car culture has come a long way since I've been in it, but you know, there's still a lot of cliquish and negative stuff out there, but there's a lot of positive stuff out there. For every street takeover you see, there's also a benefit somewhere in the world as well. How do we balance that? I don't know, but it seems like the negative always gets more attention than the positive. When somebody goes out and they take over Post Oak, or they go out and they're racing around the loop and they get caught or something bad happens, that always overshadows the good things that are happening. Like, for instance, we do Texas Children's. We work with them to do our car show there. And it's a small car show, invite only, but we pull up at the medical center or any one of the campuses. The last time it was at the medical center. And what happens is, and it's a beautiful thing. I didn't know they were going to do this when we did it. What happens is they bring their media crew out and we park and we stage, right? We're in the driveway. They shut it down. They bring their media crew out and then they start filming each car. And if they want to interview a driver, they'll film that driver. This gets broadcast into the rooms of the kids that can't make it down, not just at the medical center, but it gets broadcast across their entire system. So it might not even be a text. Like if some of the hospital system is tied into their system, those kids that might be feeling down or couldn't make the show, if they were thinking about going to Comicpalooza or didn't know we existed, you know, they might see their favorite character on a car. It comes across and it makes them smile, you know, things like that. That doesn't make the news, but we're doing them, you know. And the car culture is like we gotta stamp out the negative, but there's negative things in all cultures, you know. All like car culture, cosplay culture, I don't know, rap culture. It's everywhere. You're always gonna have your bad actors, but for some reason, the car culture they overshadow the good.
All right. You know, these couple words I want to throw out at you because I witnessed this firsthand with the experience there with you guys, and these couple words is quality relationships.
That's a big one, man. Quality relationships to me, I treat people the way I want to be treated, right? I've been through the car shows where I pull up and they just wanted me there. They didn't care what happened after I parked. After I parked, I'm on my own. They disappeared. I pulled up to the car show where the judging was rigged. The cousin of the cousin got it. And the judge, you know, was the father, and he knew everybody, you know. Everything that I do as far as relationships and how I handle people and how genuinely I want to help. I remember being in that position where, you know, I was just starting out and I couldn't find any help. Or, for instance, we got a guy who drove down here in a Porsche. You may have heard the story 3 times already, but he bought a brand new 2025 Porsche, drove it from New Jersey to Houston, and on the way to Houston, a truck got on the road spewing debris, right? Rocks, gravel. That car doesn't have a grill, so the radiator is exposed. Those rocks hit that radiator, put a hole in it, right? He made it to Houston, parked his car, and then Porsche stepped in to help him out. Took them until today to get his car together, and $5,000 later to get his car together. He needs a ride home. I'm gonna rent a trailer out of my own pocket, and I'm gonna try to get him home. You know, that's what relationships are to me. You don't leave a man behind. You don't leave. You know, if you can help, you help. You know, and I can help, so I will help, and I will treat everybody the way I want to be treated when I'm at an event. You know. Even, this is another thing we used to do. This is another one. Up until last year, just like we're doing with the influencers right now, normally you pay for space to be at something like this, right? It's not what is it, a symbiosis where, you're working together. You guys pay for space to be at something like this because, you got a major event, second largest event in Houston. They don't just give that space away when they can sell it, right?
Yeah.
So what Comicpalooza allowed me to do is work a little bit outside the lines to community build, the lowriders, the RC community, the influencers. Where I used to offer the drivers who came to the show free booth space until it got Click started messing things up to where it just wasn't worth it for me. But I wouldn't charge them a dime. Just like I don't charge the drivers, we don't charge the drivers to be there. That car show is completely free, and we give away thousands of dollars, almost $5,000 in prizes, plus trophies and all that other stuff. Those relationships and working that way is just something that I've always wanted to see, and I'm able to do, and it's how I was raised.
Man, it's amazing too. I think
lead by example, right?
Yeah, and be the example. Be the change that you want to see.
Yeah,
and you're definitely doing that. So this leads me to the last word. Just hearing you talk about all of those things. And I'm gonna pause before I give you this one. I'm gonna lean in, Corey. I'm gonna say, "Hey, this is the good one right here."
Okay.
This is the good one right here. But the last one I want to give you is legacy, and the reason I'm throwing that one at you is because, man, you are, I think you are establishing an amazing legacy with what you do and how you do what you do, brother. So, legacy. What comes to heart or to mind when you hear that?
That's a deep question right there. Legacy.
It is.
So what am I leaving behind, or what am I pushing forward?
Yeah.
If I had to give Carmic.con a legacy, it's providing the fandom that we serve, this community, a home, a home where, they can bring their cars out and they're not laughed at, they're not thrown in the back of somewhere. We're showing this community, the comic convention community, that we have value, and that this show can take place at any convention as long as you got the right person behind the scenes, growing it from the ground up. Don't go out there and try to get 100 cars. Just start with one. That's all you got to do, is start with one car and let the culture build itself. That's the biggest thing. I think that we're gonna the legacy that we're gonna. Man, that's a tough one, man.
Yeah, it's deep. It's deep. Hey, I warned you.
Yeah. When we started out, most people didn't fully understand, the Atasha culture and the culture. Most of the drivers had never been to a comic convention. So most of those guys are hooked on it. They're hooked on this. You can go to a regular car show, some of these car shows that some of these other guys throw, and nobody shows up. It's just the drivers. They're trying to make their money off the drivers, and that's all they care. They didn't send out a single flyer. They didn't do anything. Our car show is different because you have people there that actually are intrigued and care about the cars, the fandom, and the driver, because everybody gets to talk to somebody. You'll find somebody who likes what they did. That in itself is part of a legacy. And giving them a stage and a voice in this pop culture event has been huge. Comicpalooza was the first one to open up on this level. We have a lot of small ones now, that smaller conventions that don't do the 50,000 people or whatever, that have opened up locally. And for me, I treat those like, how the Houston rappers used to do back in the day. Some of them still do. Paul Wall, Slim Thug, they would go hand to hand. Master P, they used to go hand to hand, community to community. You'll see me at some small convention, but it's not. I'm not there to sell. I'm just there to meet people and just to let them know, to be an advocate for what we do. I think that's my legacy in a sense. What started as a passionate project just became a platform to legitimize this whole subculture, and it brings together drivers, it brings together artists, it brings together dreamers, and it opens doors for people who never thought they'd be seen or heard, in a sense, because right around the corner from you, and just show how diverse we were, we had you doing interviews on one side, and then we had another podcast around the corner. And that guy, I know he wasn't doing one for the LGBTQ community, if I'm even saying that right, but his partner has an LGBTQ podcast who's normally there every year, but this year he's volunteering with this guy. And, those cultures, they just don't have a platform to speak from. And we've given them a platform because, some of the drivers are in that community. We just don't turn a blind eye to anybody. We're open to all, and we all play together well. That's a legacy, if I had to think, we created a community.
Yeah. I think, and that's what it's all about, man. Just creating a community that shows love to everybody.
Yeah, full throttle, man. Full throttle.
Yeah. Well, as we close, brother, I'd love for you to get an opportunity to share with the audience, where they can go follow you and check you guys out with all the amazing things that you have going on.
So the best place to find me is Comicpalooza. That's CarmicCon.com. And then on all social platforms, it's just Carmic.con. The website will have all the links on it. It'll have the latest news on it. It'll have how you can help if you want to help. And that's why I really want you to go to the website first before you go to the Instagram, the Twitter, the Facebook. The website is the best place to start. It'll even have videos, like your video will be linked there, to send them back to your page so you can get those views and know what we're thinking.
So good. Well, again, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles. Thanks so much for what you do and how you do. And I've said that a couple of times, but and I wish you continued success.
Thank you, brother. And same, sir. Man. Thank you for having me, man. This was a pleasure.
Yes, sir. And thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless.
Go get it.